And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. For those tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, as well as on our YouTube channel, we're about to bring in Amazon Live here in just a moment. Have a great guest that's joining us for our first on-camera conversation with us today. We're excited to welcome author Ruby C. Wight. She's the author of this book called Resilient Heart. You all see it there. We're going to talk to Ruby not only about the writing of the book, but also what it's been like for her to literally share her story with the world. As you all can see on my book, it is already a bestseller. We'll talk to her about that experience. And of course, we'll let you all know how to be able to get your own copy of the book. Now, for those who are just now tuning in, if you're not watching us on the Amazon Live platform, you'll find there is a link with this conversation. You can click over there to go to Amazon and get the book for yourself. But Ruby, so glad to have you with us today. Appreciate the time.
I am so happy, excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me, Cyrus.
Well, look, the pleasure is definitely all mine. I'm going to make just one quick fix here on our Facebook side, Ruby, to make sure that you're tagged over there on Facebook. And then we will connect with our friends over on Amazon Live, okay?
All right.
All right. This is going to be a lot of fun, Ruby. I'm excited about it.
I'm all for fun.
There you go. There you go. And let's see, there is Ruby. Got her all saved there and all set. And we are good to go. And then we're going to bring in Amazon. And you all are watching Cyrus Webb Presents here on the Amazon Live platform. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, where we're here 7 days a week, bringing you guys some incredible programming, including shows like you are watching today. I'm so excited about today's guest. I'm going to be welcoming Ruby C. Wight to our program. She's the author of this book, Resilient Heart. You all see it there. It's already a #1 international bestseller. We're going to talk to Ruby not only about the sharing of her story, but also what it's been like for her to be able to live life, to find true meaning in life, and now to share that with all of you. I want to say as a quick programming note for those joining us on Amazon Live, if you have not done so already, feel free to click over in this corner. If you're on your desktop or laptop, there you can be able to follow us here on the Amazon Live platform so you can get all of our programming. If you're on your mobile device, you'll notice the follow button is below. Also, you will notice on the side of us, if you guys are joining us on the mobile device, you'll notice Ruby's book is there. I have it highlighted right now. You all can be able to click and get your copy while we're having our conversation today. But Ruby, thank you so much for joining us on Amazon Live.
You are welcome. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Glad to do it, Ruby. So, Ruby, let's start where we are right now. I mean, here you are this year in the middle of everything else that's been going on in the world, right? Where so many people have given up hope, have lost heart. You've been able now to release your best-selling book, Resilient Heart. What has it been like for you to see the response to the book, Ruby?
I'm actually really happy and very excited about the response. It's this is so new to me, so you have to deal with me, okay?
Yeah.
Anyway, I have actually conditioned myself to see it to be this way, and yet here I am now. I'm still surprised and really excited. Still excited. I'm still probably, I would say, in cloud nine.
Yeah.
I'm still up there. So, or should I say euphoria? So anyway, it's an exciting time for me.
Yeah. And Ruby, you have done what so many people have just talked about, right? People talk about writing their story, writing a book, telling their story. You actually did it. Where did you get the courage to actually say, I want to share my story, and then to actually do it?
Well, let me get back to who actually encouraged me to do that.
Hmm.
It was Dr. Wayne Dyer who would often say, never die with your music in you.
Mm.
Now, to me, this book is my music.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, if I were to just keep it to myself, this whole book, this story, what I have in my life, what I learned, what I know, what I have in my mind, what I have gathered throughout the ages, I think that would not serve a very good purpose for my life.
Mm.
So he was right to never die with your music in you, because then if you die with your music still in you, that would be there would be a disconnect there. I mean, something is missing, right? So I wanted to die completely fulfilled with everything that there is to experience and express in this world. You
Yeah.
know, I don't know if I will be coming back. Who knows what that whole thing really is all about. The thing is, we are here. We should live to the fullest, and that includes sharing what we have to those who could possibly appreciate what we share.
Yeah. And Ruby, I know from reading your book, Resilient Heart, that things were not easy for you. There were many times in your life that you could have given up. There are many times that you could have turned inward because of the trauma that you experienced even as a child, and then even more trauma kind of heaped on you as an adult. But you didn't do that. What do you think kept you from giving up when so many people would have given up if they had gone through the things you've gone through?
That is actually a very good question. You know, I actually thought about what it would be like to give up. But
Mm.
then I realized that giving up would not define me. That would not be me. You know, there were so many instances where giving up was the easiest way out. But
Mm.
then I thought, would I live this planet with that kind of image? That would not really be serving justice to my soul, because I believe that everyone has a soul, and my soul is not going to be that weak and that be intimidated, be threatened by challenges, and however difficult the challenges are. I think it is actually a it is actually for the soul to express itself, so that we emerge through the challenges, and not just emerging in a way of the survival of the fittest, but come out alive of that challenges, and live and thrive in abundance, in joy. Don't just settle in survival of the fittest kind of mode. You know, I could have easily just, okay, my husband was really financially stable. I could just stay there. I could just forget about the other stuff. But then that is his thing. That is his life. That is his story. That is financially stable. Whereas I did not feel like I was a free individual. You know, I was pretty much at the mercy of his power. Even even washing dishes, I would have to be told how to wash dishes. And I was doing myself. I mean, I wish I can freely use language there, but I would be very, very careful. Anyway, I was like, oh my God, I did not raise myself all the way there in order only to follow orders from anybody. Even how to wash the dishes, someone has to tell me. Anyway, it is our duty
Right.
as a person, as an individual, to actually live from the premise of the soul. And then you have to find out what is the soul, where is the soul, what is the soul capable of. And so this was the questions I had to answer. And the answer to that question actually was the one who's saved me. So I do not have to go do the easy thing, the easy way out.
Right, right. Rodrigo, thank you so much for being with us on the Amazon Live side there. And Don Marie Westmoreland is sending you love over on the Facebook side. Ruby, it's so interesting hearing you talk about the choice, because in chapter 4 of the book, it ended before it began. You wrote this for those who have the print edition. It's on pages 46. And this is what you said. There was no doubt in my mind that I had a choice to make: to live in misery with Richard, or to get out of my marriage and head to uncharted territories with the kids. Neither way was going to be easy. I prayed for a signal whether to divorce or not. You know, I think there are so many people who, when they are asked why they stayed in a situation, I think a lot of times we hear people stay because of comfort, they stay because of convenience, they stay because of stability. but you were thinking not just about yourself, but also about your children. Do you think that is what made the decision easier, knowing that this was not just about you, but you had the future to think about?
Well, actually, the children, the presence of the children made it really, really difficult for me to make that decision. If
Mm,
there was anything else, it was actually the kids that made it very, very difficult for me to make that decision. Because regardless whether we divorce or we don't, there is always going to be the pros and cons. I
yeah.
did not want my kids to see that that would be the model of their lives, to
Hmm.
settle with what was comfortable. I mean, if we were just talking about to be in the comfort zone, it was easier to just stay in the marriage. I mentioned that in my culture, nobody would do what I did. My husband was financially stable. I mean, we had a huge house, a swimming pool in front, a tennis court in front. Coming from my culture, nobody would exchange that for uncharted territory.
Yeah.
But to me, that is not what life is all about. That to me, that is not to live in a comfort zone is not what life is all about, because we have this so much power that we have not discovered. These challenges are there for us to squeeze this head, squeeze the heart, figure out what are we made of.
Mm, yeah. Such a great question. What are we made of?
During from where I
Yeah.
came from or whatever, what I'm made of to make it through.
Right. And I think that is what the audience can definitely take with this. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, you're watching Cyrus Webb Presents here on the Amazon Live platform, as well as on our other sites as well. As we have Facebook, YouTube, as well as LinkedIn. My guest is Ruby C. Wight. We're discussing this book you all see there, Resilient Heart. It's available right now on Amazon. We have it highlighted in the carousel there. The subtitle of the book says, An Unstable Home, An Unstable Marriage, and a self-made life beyond pain. I want to talk about the self-made life beyond pain, Ruby, because again, you say in chapter 7 of the book, Getting My Footing, it seems like part of where that came from is this. I began and ended every day with meditation. My main goal was to achieve a state of complete stillness so I could experience the presence of God. Help me understand and help our audience understand, Ruby, how getting to that place of stillness helped you with your plan.
Okay. That is actually a very good question, and I actually appreciate you ask that question because that is a profound question and it merits a profound answer. Now, let me begin by saying first, in the Bible, it says, you can have all of this, but seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Now, I'm a person who pretty much navigate through life using the Bible and all other Bibles. I mean, all I should correct myself because anyway, all the other books that I found really really very useful to help us navigate through life. So anyway, knowing that if we do that, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto me. Especially when I was just beginning to navigate uncharted territory or whatever that was one. I thought I could not be wrong following this edict from the Bible. So I began the day meditating because I wanted to experience that stillness where everything would be offered or be be uh, be shown to me how I should proceed with life. When stillness is there, when you experience stillness, that is when you actually experience communication with God, where it is not a monologue. Meaning, God, please give me all this, all this, all this, all this, give me, give me, give me. No, that is when you actually hear the language of God, which is silence. But that silence is channeled through your intuitional faculty, so that that intuitional faculty will actually articulate that language to your comprehension. And with that, you will be able to proceed what choice to make, because in every moment there's so many choices to make, whether to drive or not to drive. And if you drive, you might meet an accident, whatever. What I'm saying is, with that stillness comes this profound connection. That stillness is the portal to that infinite, to that heaven that we carry every day, that we don't even know, because we were taught, heaven is somewhere there, over there, and probably perhaps you even think that you have to wait when you die before you experience heaven. Where in fact the Bible is very clear, it is within. So that meditation is my way of accessing that heaven within. Because if I can access that heaven within, then I should be able to navigate these challenges, whatever there is in life, with ease. That is my point, with ease. We don't have to really struggle. I don't really like the struggle business, I mean, come on. I want to just be happy, have fun, live, really, like a free person.
Yeah. You go on in that same chapter, Ruby, to share a quote from someone that you respect, and that being Waldo Emerson. And the quote is, "The purpose of life is not to be happy. It is to be useful, to be honorable, to be compassionate, to have it make some difference that you have lived and lived well." How has that kind of driven you in this new journey that you're in as a published author, now sharing your story, the idea of living well? What does that mean to you now?
Well, living well means you have to be healthy in body, in your mind, and your spirit. Because you can have all the money in the world, but if you are not healthy, you cannot be happy. You can have all the health in your mind, but if you don't have money, then you cannot go to San Francisco or go anywhere. You have to be healthy in body, mind, and soul. And happiness is just going to be following through after that, having the wellness of mind, the wellness of the body, the wellness of the spirit. Happiness actually is a state of mind, or some kind of it's not some kind, it is a state of mind and a matter of attitude. I could be so sick, but if I can master this, I can still be happy. Man, trust me, for years of being a migraineur, I went through so much pain, it's unbelievable. But even in the midst of pain, trust me, when I was making all those thousands of dollars trading stock options, I was having a migraine attack. And that was really, really interesting. But that is where fun things are for me. For me, it doesn't have to be you are in such a comfort zone and then you are happy. No, happiness is when you are coming out alive with this so-called outside of the comfort zone.
You talk about the impact of COVID for you in the book, Ruby. We're going to talk about that a bit. I want to first say, for those who are just tuning in, you're watching Cyrus Webb Presents on our various platforms. Whether you're tuning in on Amazon Live, we thank you all for being with us. Also, those joining us on Facebook, YouTube, and our LinkedIn page. We're here with Ruby C. Wight. She's the author of this book, Resilient Heart. You all see it there. The book's available through our friends at Amazon.com. We have it highlighted in the carousel. You can get the print or the Kindle edition of the book. We're going to remind you also you can stay connected with Ruby. We're talking with her about the writing of the book, but also what it's been like for her to share her story and the messages that she brings up in the book. You talk about COVID, so of course this book is very timely for us, Ruby, but how did you use this time as the world in many ways was standing still? There was a lot of uncertainty. How did you use that time to work on you?
COVID, very interesting subject, because I don't even know where to begin. It actually pissed me off, you know, made me angry at some point. But then, like everyone else, I just have to call my jet. And the thing about when we had the full lockdown, meaning that by law enforceable, you are not allowed to go anywhere. I um I used the time to actually to write the book, you know, and I used the time not only to finish to write the book, but as well as to uh, check in with myself, my mental health, my body, my spirit. So, in a way, the COVID actually gave me an opportunity to do the things that I would not have done if the pandemic did not happen.
Mm.
And even with that, I was still able to do as I normally do, being a spirited person, without having to be confined too much with fear about being sick, getting sick, and giving the sickness to anybody. Let me mention just a little bit that when everyone was fearful to even get out of their door, I actually took a long drive. You know how when you get pissed off, you take a long hike? I was
Mhm.
so angry about the COVID and the fire and everything here in California. I did not take a long hike because there was no place to hike. It was full of smoke. I took a long drive from the West Coast to the East Coast to process my mind about how things are, you know, and also to tell and to show to myself that even when freedom is influenced this way, that we still can live like a free person. And that was what I was doing to myself. I wanted to show it to myself that I can still live as a free person, even if we were supposed to be confined in a house and be fearful about the COVID, getting sick and die. I told myself, okay, I follow science. And if I still die or get COVID, even after following science, then there's not much I can do about that. But I also cannot be chained because of this COVID business. You know, I am very, very careful when I move around. I do follow science to a T, but doesn't mean I'm going to hide in the room because I'm full of fear in case I will die out of COVID. No, heck, I can die right now and I'll be happy.
Yeah. And you end that chapter where you do mention COVID, Ruby, by saying no problems are so big that I cannot solve them. So I want to ask you, for our audience out there, as we close out today, what do you want them to know about what is possible? Because again, we began this conversation talking about what you've been able to overcome in your youth, as an adult, in present day times. What do you want them to know about what is possible for them?
Well, there's a lot of possibilities. But first, you really have to believe that it is really possible. It all begins in right here and in your heart to believe what really are possible. Because even if I tell you right now, Cyrus, that this one is possible, and yet you believe that it isn't, even if I will tell you that this one is possible and I am actually just BSing and I actually don't believe it is possible, it has to begin in the mindset. Let's say it is appearing to be impossible, but if you believe, if you have faith that it is possible, then anything is possible. Anything is possible. I mean, even during the COVID time, I was able to travel from West Coast to East Coast when it appeared to be impossible. Okay. And even when there is no job, no travel, no money, it would appear that it is impossible to make money. But look, left and right people resorted into something else. And then they actually got better in making money by leaving their old job or whatever they were doing before and trying something new because this is the only thing possible. Example, a friend. She was employed, but then she lost her employment during the COVID. She started checking out what is my gift? What can I do right now that would work with the condition we are in? She started cooking. She started putting her pictures of what she cooked in the Facebook. I started buying her whatever she was putting in there, and then she got the whole idea. She was selling it all over the place, and right now she's now going back to where she was before because her food catering business just took off. I mean, it started with just one order, two order, just little things, and then it took off.
Wow. Wow.
I'm not really sure if I have sometimes I have the tendency to negate from the meat of the questions. I hope I did not.
Yeah, no. You know that really nailed it. That nailed it, Ruby. And that's why I want people to be able to get this book. Again, it's called Resilient Heart. You all see it there by Ruby C. Wight. The subtitle of the book is An Unstable Home, An Unstable Marriage, and a Self-Made Life Beyond Pain. It's available through our friends at Amazon.com, both in print as well as the Kindle edition, already a bestseller on Amazon. So make sure you guys do get your copy of it. And Ruby, how can they stay connected with you?
Well, I have an Instagram, Ruby C. White, and I also have a Twitter, Ruby C. White 1. I am. You can find me on Facebook, Ruby Carrillo White. And if you really cannot find me anywhere in the social media, please see Cyrus. He knows how to contact me.
There you go. I know where to find her. Ruby, this was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story in Resilient Heart. And thank you so much for the conversation today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Cyrus, for having me here. You take care. Have a good day.
You as well. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk again soon. Take care.